Do you guys find it odd that I'm using a brand new headset on the porn story? Yeah, so do I. Well, please let me know in the comments how it works. As we stay here for My Life as a Teenage Von Neuman Device, Chapter 20. Are you sure this is the right place? Brick Crust asked aloud, keeping her voice to a sharp whisper in an effort to remain unnoticed. She froze, hesitating before knocking on the opposing metal door in the side of the dank alley she stood in. Reaching to her pocket, Britt pulled out a scrap of paper and double-checked the address written down on it. Aside from the distant city sounds that filtered through the alley's full mouth, only silence responded to Britt's question. Reading the name stenciled to the door, Britt confirmed that she had indeed reached her destination. Phineas Moog, electronics design and repair. It had been quite an effort to track down and reach the second foremost response expert in Tremerton. Her and still to do it while on the run from the law. Britt had not slept or rested for even a moment since the incident the night before, and she was desperately weak and tired. If she couldn't help soon, she would be completely beyond hope. Still, Britt did not knock. Stepping backwards, deeper into the shadows, Britt reached into the bundle that she carried onto her back and pulled out her chest's metallic skull. Anyone could see that this skull was never meant to resemble a human skull, however. Its eyes were too wide and slanted, its mandible thin and sprouting jagged fangs, and it lacked a nose altogether. Despite its fearsome appearance, Brick Crust trailed it delicately as a newborn baby, asking it, Vexus, how do you know we could trust him? I suppose you'll just have to take that risk, came a disembodied voice from immediately above and behind Britt. Britt gasped and spun around, nearly toppling herself over in the process. Oh, don't be alarmed, said the kindly male voice that issued from the speaker mounted onto the wall. As Britt gathered herself, she spotted several cameras around on the thin robotic arms, extending from their hiding places amidst the theatres of the alleyway. One such camera whirred as it moved itself for a closer expression, the lenses rotating to get a better focus on Britt's worried face. The speaker crackled to life again, offering, I've been expecting you, Miss Crust. Please come in, make yourself comfortable. With that, the side entrance to Mug's lab unlocked itself and swung open, inviting Britt into the gloomy interior beyond. After cautiously entering and scoping out Mug's lab, Britt was indeed impressed. The good doctor kept an orderly and efficient workspace amidst the outer chaos and decrepitude of the slums the lab was located in. Eagerly accepting Mug's offer of drinks and snacks, Britt reflected on her surroundings as she hungrily scoffed down her food. Despite all the advanced machinery visible, the workspace still seemed somehow empty, as though the building had been intended for more occupants than just a small elderly Mug. Once her host was seated opposite, Britt began. I've come to you for help. I need your expertise with robotics and your silence. Yes, I've seen the news reports. The media's making you out to be some kind of real-life movie teen slasher. As soon as Skyroad Patrol gets its head out of its bureaucratic ass, you won't have a safe place to hide in the entire state. What makes you think I can help you? Mug asked her with a smug expression. He seemingly held all the cards right now. Britt's future was trusted entirely in his hands. The desperate teen girl knew that he could help her. The real question is if he would or not. Time to show Mug what he brought to the table. Dropping her satchel into Mug's coffee table with a heavy thud, Britt pulled the covering to reveal a disincorporated metal skeleton that was once the proud cluster queen. Is that? Mug gasped, impressively leaning forward for a better look. Britt pulled it to the pile of parts away from him, clutching it defensively, his mouth practically watering at the prospect of learning the secrets of an advanced alien tech. Mug reached for his checkbook and hastily offered, How much do you want it for all? I don't have much to spare since my government contract's died up, but I could probably sell some of my old surplus in. Britt cut off sharply. She's not for sale. Seeing Mug's confused look, Britt explained to herself, I want you to bring her back to life. Carefully taking the collection of effects scraps from Britt and spreading them over the table, Mug took a cursory expression. I don't think it's possible. There's simply not enough here to work with. I estimate maybe original parts are either missing or are too badly damaged to be of any use. Britt frowned displeased. Then let's fix something you could do. This is the only chance I have of finally defeating Wakeman's horrible robot. XJ9, you mean? Asked Smoke, his interest suddenly piqued. Bridge sensed a shift in his attitude and pressed for details, hoping to find an angle so he could explode. Last night, Jenny, it calls itself. You know of it. Smoke frowned deeply, issuing a gross snort to his contempt. It's a long story, but suffice it to say, XJ9 is the reason why my son, YK9, Kenny, is missing. If your goal is to take down XJ9, then I'll see what I can do to help you. Setting her head back, exhausted, Jenny mused aloud, I'm so glad I didn't have to do any superheroing today. Setting her hand seriously against the wound on her swollen, pregnant abdomen, Jenny lightly touched the bandages, dabbing pads over the rents in her metallic skin. Laying at a 45-degree angle on her diagnostic table in her mother's lab, Jenny was functioning on her last power reserves, and desperately wanted to sit down so she could recharge. Her mother, Nora Wakeman, wiped her hands clean with an oil-stained rag, and sighed wearily, prepared to deliver her news to Jenny. It had been extremely tiring for both of them, as Dr. Wakeman had immediately gone to work on her injured daughter as soon as Silver Shell had flown them both back to Wakeman's lab. Poor Sheldon had fretted and fussed about, trying to find anything he could do to help, until Nora had been forced to send him home just to get him out of her hair. Since then, Nora had not allowed herself a moment's rest until she knew she did everything for her robotic daughter and unborn grandchild. Now, hours later, the effort had clearly taken a heavy toll on the old woman's constitution. Regarding her creator with sympathy, Jenny gave her a brief hug as thanks and awaited her diagnosis. Well, the good news is the baby is still functioning. I didn't sustain any real damage from the attack. However, you didn't fare as well. Your reproductive assembly took a heavy hit. And even worse is that your birthing cat is completely fused into your umbilical power junctions. Nora leaned back against the wall, throwing the rag against the ground in resignation. Was Jenny's response, confused by the technical jargon. Expecting as much, Jenny's mother continued her explanation. What that means for you is that the XJ1 will continue to be assembled, so as long as your internal systems don't encounter an error as a result of the damage they sustain. When they do, your baby will be expelled from your system, whether it's ready for the outside world or not. Once to confirm this, Jenny checked her internal clock and saw the estimated time to completion had indeed changed from a steady countdown to unable to determine message. So, you can't just fix it? She asked, already expecting a no. I wanted to hear her mother's explanation for it anyway. I could, but not without killing the XT1 inside. If I try to exit directly, I'll cut off the power supply to the nanites that are building its brain, and they're not sophisticated enough to be able to resume their task without an interruption. And once the brain is finished being built, it needs to be constantly shielded from the outside world's various sources of electromagnetic rays. If I open you up at that point, the baby's mind could end up being programmed by the local radio station, or a sort of lair. Before Jenny could comment, Nora continued, one last problem is that your birthing cap, as I said before, is fused. Normally, at the end of your pregnancy, your midsection would open, and XJ1 would be deposited gently onto the floor in front of you. You would return to your former seat. Quick, easy, painless. But no, well, I haven't yet determined an alternate method of getting the baby out of you when it's ready. I'll need more time to work out a solution. Now, Jenny, your mother desperately needs some sleep. Okay, Mom. Thanks. Jenny said, quite sleepy herself. Nora plugged Jenny into a wall outlet so she could recharge as she slept. Paused to kiss Jenny's forehead before pulling up a tarp for Jenny to use as a blanket, tucking her teenage daughter in for a long rest. Pausing at the lab's doorway to hit a light switch, Nora heard Jenny called out, Mom? Yes, dear. Do you think I'll be a good mother? Jenny asked timidly. The question had been sitting in the back of her mind for almost as long as she's been pregnant. Only now, in light of the recent brush with death both she and her child experienced, Jenny could hardly ignore it any longer. What kind of mother would endanger her mother and baby so recklessly? Perhaps she really was too young still. She shouldn't be trusted with a baby if she couldn't be counted to keep herself safe. Leaning against the door frame, Nora removed her eyeglasses and carefully cleaned them on the front of her lab coat. I don't know, Jenny, but you've done an excellent job of being a superhero, a teenager. Neither of them are easy jobs. Being the mother of a young robot would be tougher than either of those. Trust me, I know. But speaking as someone who's been in your shoes, Was he created to develop the blueprint to a young lady you are today? The rewards are worth the risk. Jane seemed to think about this, looking down at her belly unsure. Good night, sweetie, murmured Nora, turning out the lights as he left. Jane closed her eyes, suddenly wondering if there were any machine gods she could offer up a prayer to. Seconds later, Jenny's sleep mode would automatically be engaged, sending her into a deep, dreamless slumber. Shivering from the touch of the cold lab table against her bare skin, Britt forced herself to take calm, even breaths to combat the growing sense of dread she felt. Britt had never liked hospitals, surgery even less so. About being undergoing an extensive, dangerous procedure in some way, a lab was a scene out of a nightmare. It was for all the good of her cause. Britt had to sacrifice her life so Fexus could have another opportunity to kill XJ9. This she would gladly give it. Clenching her jaw to cease the chattering in her teeth, Britt mentally readied herself by repeating to herself all that Mulligan had told her. After a lengthy discussion of their options, Mulligan moved conversation to the recent advances he made in translating human and machine thought patterns. The innovations, he claimed, were inspired by a process Dr. Wakeman had originally proposed that would allow the human mind to be transferred wholesale into an electronic brain. Inspired by, Britt had assumed he meant stolen from. Being Smoke had something of a rep for riding Norman Wakeman's coattails to scientific achievement. Still, it was Britt's best hope for resurrecting Fexus, at least in part. Because a large part of Fexus' remains were missing, Moog would never be able to completely restore the fallen queen. Instead, they were forced to find a substitute. Something that the cluster technology could be built onto, merged with. Thus, providing an underlying support structure, the motor that would hold Fexus' pieces together again. After some heated debate and a healthy bribe, Britt and Moog settled on grafting Fexus' corpse onto a human subject. Now, Britt awaited the surgery that would merge her with her new idol. She would inherit Fexus' superhuman strength and abilities. Would she wear her parts like armor? Or might Fexus' inert mind manage to overcome Britt's own will and wear her body like a hand wears a glove? Britt glanced to her left, seeing the dead remains of the queen arranged like some anthropological study, ready to be grafted and implanted into her delicate flesh and bone body. She hated feeling vulnerable like this. It was held by her state of undress. To prepare for surgery, Britt had purchased a trim black two-piece bikini that left very little to the imagination. It was one of the first purchases of clothing Britt had ever made where function was more important than fashion. To complete the surgery, Mug would need to cut into every inch of her flesh. Still, even after all she had been through, Britt maintained just enough pride to keep her privates hidden from the gaze of the old man. I want to remind you again that this procedure remains completely untested on human subjects, Mug warned, approaching Britt, fixing a breathing apparatus to her face. So as a failsafe, I've created a kill switch program that will disable all the connections between your brain and the control implants. I'll activate it at the first sign of system shock. Fiddling with the knobs on a gas canister, the anesthesia began to flow into Britt's lungs as Smoke continued speaking. There's no telling exactly how your brain will react to the insertion of foreign thought patterns. You may not experience anything, or you may live Fex's entire lifetime in the span of your sleep, or it could be anything in between. Feeling extremely lightheaded, Britt's last conscious thought was that her bikini felt subtly and needed shaving, and that probably meant the hair on her head was finally starting to come back as well. Darkness filled her vision. Her eyelids fluttered shut, and Britt was out like a light. Then the dreams began. In her mind, Brittany Crust was in ancient Egypt. More to the point, she ruled Egypt as its goddess queen, as Pharaoh. It was a dream she had several times before, a personal favorite. In her dreams, she controlled a vast empire, countless slaves to appease her every whim, and the praises of the people accompanying every action she took. And unlike the real world, where Britt's beauty was eternal and infinite, the dream of Egypt was not necessarily at all historically accurate. Here, fact and fantasy mixed freely as Brittany wished them to. Here, gold brick pyramids capped with pure jade dotted the landscape. The night sky was a rich purple. No camels existed, only beautiful Arabian stallions. But something was different this time. Her empire was in shambles. Her subjects had deserted her. So strange plague came to her lands and wiped out all by herself. The soft white sands had turned to a dull gray, which made the silver moonlight beam bathe a sea of iron. Standing on a high balcony overlooking all that was hers, Brit was utterly alone, the last survivor of a dead kingdom. Only the breeze and the moon kept her company. As she breathed the cool night air, a lone insect fluttered up and landed on her outstretched fingertip. Bret brought it to her face to see it better. It was a large green wasp, with unusually large front legs. Or was it a golden mantis? She had never been good at science. A quick flick of her wrist sent it on its way, turning away for the desolation below. Bret walked into the air chambers of the palace, which would someday be her tomb as it had been for all her ancestors. Perhaps in here she might find the guidance she craved. Entering the burial chamber, Bret saw row upon row of jeweled sarcophagi, standing erect against the walls, each containing a once mighty ruler who had each contributed to the royal bloodline that had spawned her. Brittany, the last scion of the Crust dynasty. Only the dead occupied this space, but Brit still found her presence idly comforting. Stopping to inspect one at random, Brit ran her fingertips over the surface of the sarcophagus, feeling the smoothness of the sleek gray metal and the ceremonial death mask was carved from. Something about the sarcophagus bothered Brit. Something was out of place, but what was it? She trailed her hand out past the face, and two golden antennae-like crowns held the sun disk, the symbol of the Crust royal house. In the place above the head was the sarcophagus' hooked mandibles, its sharp slanted eyes, the two pairs of arms folded across the chest holding a crook, a flail, a sword, and a scepter. The disturbing quality escaped Brit's attempt to pinpoint when a shuffling sound came from behind her. Turning, Brit's eyes searched the shadows for any movement. "Who's that? You're fed with the nonsense and show yourself!" commanded Brit, her voice strong and her posture fierce. The shadows laughed. "You are a haughty young thing, aren't you?" The voices of a deep female voice, followed by a faint buzzing sound, like the trill of cicada. "You would mock me, you who are no more substantial than a phantom in the darkness! Come speak to me when you have something important to say, instead of idle chatter!" tittered Brit. A dark voice came again, closer this time. "I like your venom, girls." Countess saying the insect wings intensified, until it seemed as though the room was filled by a host of unseen locusts, surrounding Brit. The echoes came from above, saying, "And I like your elegance, too." Suddenly Brit felt something cold and sharp scrape the back of her head. Bolting, she was seized by strong, nimble hands and held in place. Unable to turn to face her assailant, soft, artificial lips hovered just beside Brit's ear, whispered words so sweetly they dripped like honey into Brit's mind. "I can make us powerful again. Give us dominion over this entire pitiful planet. I'll rebuild the cluster with this world as the first stepping stone towards the glory that is rightfully ours." "Fix this," Brit breathed, recognizing the robotic tyrant's presence. "Yes," Vexus hissed, extending his slim, moist tongue into Brit's ear, stroking against the sensitive, unprotected flesh there. Still, Freddy Crest was not so manipulated. "What's in it for me, if I help you?" As soon as the words left her mouth, Brit felt Vexus's hand give form a gentle massage to his sharp pain as the tips of her talons dug into Brit's shoulders. Vexus did not like being resisted. But even as the blood trickled down her back, turned cold, it drifted to the small of her back. Brit remained firm, sucking in her breath to keep from crying out. The claws pulled themselves from Brit's flesh, circled to her front, and pulled her tightly to Vex's embrace. The breath of the older female was on the back of Brit's neck now, and Brit felt a strange heat of Vex's body radiate against the coldness of her armor. The odd combination of machine's unyielding metal with the subtle give of a living being. The sensation of Vex's wet tongue came again, this time lapping at Brit's superficial injuries, cleaning and devouring the spilled blood from her shoulders. The legs turned to kisses as they traveled from Brit's shoulder to her neck, Vex's casual strength pushing Britt's head to the side until the dead queen's mouth rested atop Britt's jugular vein. A brief, light scraping of her fangs across Britt's throat sent a clear message. You would have power through me. As I said before, through my strength, you would have your revenge against 69. You can return the humiliation you experienced 100-fold. Purred Vexus. Britt could tell Vexus's face was directly against her cheek, but she refused to turn and look, instead keeping her gaze locked straight forward. And you would be loved. A true queen is always loved by her subjects, so long as he rules well. Lowering her gaze, Britt saw Vexus's hand on her chest, her left placed directly over her heart. With both hands, she reached for Vexus and took hold, keeping it pressingly tight against her. Still, she refused to meet Vexus's eyes. Then Vexus leaned impulsively closer, the droning buzz fading into silence, Vexus's voice dripping into a barely audible whisper. With utmost seriousness, she promised, "You'll never be alone again." "What do you need me to do?" asked Britt, turning to face Vexus and challenging her stare with her own, equally intense. Vexus grinned. Gleaming fangs expressed equal parts pleasure and menace. Britt could see that she had been correct in her earlier statement. Only dead things that occupied this room. Vexus, though whole, was a shadow of herself. Colors faded, eyes dimmed. You must accept me as your true mother, forsaking all others. You have no family but me, for I am all the family you'll ever require. You must accept me into your heart, your mind, your soul. Almost before the sentence finished, Britt threw her arms around Vexus's neck, holding on to for dear life, faintly weeping against Vexus's cold shoulder. Soul? What a trifle. A pittance to ask for in exchange for true, never-ending love. A whisper, almost a sob, escaped Britt's lips. "Mother," she said, and the pact was forever sealed. There, my child," comforted Vexus, patting Britt on the back and gently rocking her in her arms. The soft crying teen felt Vexus's firm fingers comb through her hair, long, flowing black hair. Britt would once again be beautiful, popular, and powerful. "That's right," responded Vexus, reading Frit's thoughts. "I'll always be here to protect you." "I love you, Mommy," said Britt, her tears drying and sobs being choked back. A proud parental smile crossed Vexus's face as he wiped Britt's clean. "Mommy loves you too, darling," she replied, expressing genuine emotion. "I know you've been sad, but Mama's Vexus is here to make it all better now." Guys, so far this has been a very good, dark mirror scene, and I just know that this is not in any way going to suddenly get very, very creepy and very, very raw, sick and wrong in the next 5 minutes. Peeling out the front piece of her chest plate, allowing her heavy breasts to spill out of her armor. "Just take a nice, deep drink, and I promise everything will be okay." Somehow, this is not as sick as Burial Ground, Nights of Terror. Without hesitation, Britt bent down and captured one dark nipple in her mouth. Really, it seemed like the most natural thing in the world to do. Some long, hidden instinct in her took over without any conscious effort. Looking at the nipple, it brought it to full half-inch erect. A few moments of sucking was all it took to get the flow of milk started. Drink. Vexus hiss, one hand delicately cradling Britt's head to her bosom, the other stroking the other remaining nipple, bringing it to a similar hardness. "Huh. My lactation fetish is telling me yes, but my aversion to incest is telling me no." As soon as Vexus's nectar entered Britt's mouth, she knew it was no natural mother's milk. This was a toxin, Some potent chemical intended for a newborn robot to feel its engines and grease its gears, not a product for human consumption. The rich fluid was both sweet and bitter at the same time, as though someone had melted black licorice and toffee and motor oil together, and kept it at the body temperature inside Texas's tits, now pouring it down Britt's throat. The dark mixture burned its way into Britt's stomach, and almost instantly numbed her entire abdomen. She was drinking pure poison. Britt Crust knew, but she continued to suckle hungrily at Texas's sullen tweet, desperate for more of the toxic stuff. Some craving deep inside her forced her to keep going, while swallowing more and more of the lethal breast milk. Texas cooed softly to her. You'll be my favorite. You will not disappoint me as your siblings did. Texas praised to her new daughter, letting her fingertip of warm milk that had dribbled from her unused tit. Texas traced Britt's forehead into the power and turning fork antennas of all cluster nobility wore as their symbol of office. You shall be my princess, and then queen, she mused to Britt, who seemed oblivious to the face her overwhelming thirst. It took virtually no effort at all for Texas to see her Britt's simple clothing, letting the naked Trimpton girls cling to her torso for warmth. Getting her own armor off took a bit more work, but by the time Britt had switched to feeding her from her remaining breast, Texas was equally naked. For a short while, she simply enjoyed the feeling of their soft, naked bodies pressed tightly together. Mother and daughter. Okay, this is starting to turn sick. Eventually, Britt lifted her head from Texas's heaving breast. Thirst finally quenched when she licked her black stained lips clean. I can't feel my legs, Britt complained weakly. Texas catching her in her arms when her balance gave out. You won't need them, precious, soothed Texas, taking Britt's hands in her and leaning downward. Feel this instead. As her palm touched the soft lips of Texas's womanhood, Britt found her fingers gaining a life of their own, crawling over and stroking Texas's hot center. Spreading apart the wet lips, Britt found the axis of Texas's vagina, and tentatively pushed a finger inside. That's good. Deeper. Don't be afraid. Finger fuck, mommy. Texas sighed happily. Encouraged, Britt slipped more of her fingers into Texas's now dripping pussy, and working them back and forth. Britt found she could gradually work more and more of her hand inside her adopted mother's side cunt, until she slid her hand in, pushed up to the wrist, and felt something pushed back. Hearing Texas's moan, Britt grasped the unknown object in her palm, felt it give slack when she pulled on it. Drawing her hat, Britt pulled off a long, hose-like appendage about as wide as a quarter. Unsure what to make of this, Britt noted that the tube was warm to the touch, glistened with Texas's juices, seemed to throb at the time of her own heartbeat. Taking a guess, she raised the fat object to her groin, and rubbed its tip against her hairless pussy lips to prepare herself for acceptance. Plenty of time for that. This goes here. Guided Texas, taking the metal toe from Britt and raising it to the teenager's navel, nuzzling it around the edge of it against Britt's taut stomach. Just to warn you, it'll hurt a bit when I pop your cherry. Advised Texas, stirring confusing Britt. Around the tip of the hose extended to point probe into Britt's navel, in the midst of asking what Texas was talking about. Britt shrieked as the dead queen suddenly thrust the point forward, launching through her skin and driving the metal appendage into Britt's midsection. Britt choked, both hands grasping at the tube decks and burst out note. What are you doing to me? Inside her, the piercing hand unfurled out into a series of barbs that grasped and cut and rearranged Britt's internal organs, making her cry out in intense pain, dropping the poor girl to her knees in front of Texas. Husband, my darling, Texas soothed, piling Britt's fist against her pubic mound and the tentacle to sneak down her wet cunt below. I'm only killing you. Everything will be alright. Just trust me. Somehow, despite the situation, Britt did trust her. She loved her, even as Texas milk poisoned every cell that suited to her umbilical cord, siphoning away the last remaining vitality from Britt's dying body. With the remaining strength in her, Britt raised her lips to Texas's womanhood and gave it a wet kiss, weakly lapping at the queen's aroused sex. Texas shivered with pleasure, a tingled humming through her pussy, releasing a fresh wave of her cunt stream into Britt's eager tongue. Such a little clit pleaser, you are. Zzz. Alexis prayed, scooping Britt into her arms and holding her aloft. Britt was completely immobilized now. In the unreality of the dream, she knew that without looking, her limbs had withered and shrunk into tiny, useless things. Her body now the size of a football. Mommy is very proud of you, little one. I see vast things in your future. You'll be a great warrior, destroyer of worlds. Britt smiled and gurgled happily. A tug from her umbilical cord made her wince. Isis sat down against the sarcophagus. It's time to finish this, Brittany, said Isis in a dark, sing-song voice. Altering her life spray giggled. Isis took measured breaths and closed her eyes. Ringing herself was a great task. Between her outspread legs, Britt could see the shiny silver cord reaching into the gaping, hungry vagina that swelled up after incidental candle, drawing Britt's squirming form inexorably into it. With one hand, Britt flexes and stretches the inner lips of her pussy wide apart as she commands. In the other, she works Britt's tiny dwarf feet and legs into her vag. Almost later, Britt felt the first pull from her slight, slick walls, fixes his birth canal as the queen's inner muscles contracted. As Alexis' snatch advanced to Britt's waist. Alexis herself held Britt along by pushing down on her shoulders, forcing more and more of the dying girl up her ravenous pussy. Wow, of all the kinks I thought would show up on this show, unbirthing is not one of them. By the time Britt was engulfed to her neck, she began to notice that Fixus was breathing and quickened and intensified to a labored pace. Indeed, she could feel the pulsing and thrumming of the clustered monarchs as inner machines as she worked to accompany her new accompaniment. Through her inner membranes of Fixus's body, she guessed right, seeing that this reversed birth was causing Fixus as much pleasure as typical birth would cause a woman pain. Cracking up a single eye, just enough to keep it from Fixus's spilling girl cum. She looked up and saw that Fexus was furiously masturbating against a painfully erect clit. Her efforts to rub off an orgasm seeming to further propel Britt on the way, as each time a shudder of pleasure blossomed into her privates. A ripple of movement was swept through her vaginal muscles, squeezing and pulling Britt deeper inside. Finally, with the crown of Britt's head stretching Fexus's cunt to the limit, the queen was on the brink of her climax. Airlit spasm around Britt's tender scalp. The ragged moans of Fexus pleased each breath as a little doubt she reached a powerful orgasm. Face submerged, Britt pushed her tongue out against the throbbing inner surface of the queen's snatch. It was all she could do to manage the meager assault with her tiny pink tongue. It was all to push Fexus' needed. Ugh. Fexus howled, her pussy clenching down and slipping out the last remaining portions of her new baby into her body. Oh, Fexus heaved, after starts of orgasm making her body quake. With some difficulty, she peered past her suddenly swollen body to the spot between her legs, where a puddle of warm cum that drooled from her gaped pussy served as only remains of Brittany crust. Alexis giggled like a little girl, stroking her hands over her now huge stomach, pregnant with Britt's corpse. It was done. She had the daughter she always wanted, securely tucked away in her room, as dead as her new mother was. Here, Britt's dream became murky and indistinct. She felt blind, deaf, and submerged in a hot, claustrophobic environment. As her mind groped for sensation, for meaning, the words dissolved and digested came to mind, and faded just as quickly. A memory of tearing out of a chrome cocoon that emerged new and wet into the unsuspecting world. Of stretching out to dry her wings and revel in the beauty of her new body. She remembered the bitter taste of having once failing betrayed you, and promised it would never have it again. Foreign memories of worlds circling stars that humans had yet to name seemed clearer, more natural to Britt than the memories of her own childhood. A nagging thought of an appointment that Britt made to attend a Beale Pipe recital on Cluster 6 confused her. She knew that her general smitis would be crushed if Britt's crust did not at least make a token appearance. But why would a cluster general care whether or not a human teenager listened to his music? Britt made a mental note to have her fangs sharpened when she woke up. It had been a few weeks since he had last gone to the salon, and feared they were getting dull. Amidst the whirling chaos of her dreams and half-thoughts, Britt came to realize the answer to her earlier question. She had subsumed Fexus into herself, on every level. Matter and energy could not be created or destroyed, but could souls? Brittany Crest now believed so. Where there had been two before, there was now but one. Brittany becomes something less than the sum of its parts. She was the great dissolver, the living embodiment of anti-motherhood. Something deep inside Brit, the blackest part of her soul, started to life. And lo, I have become death, destroyer of worlds. The alien presence of Brit's soul awoke, took root, spread through her being to every outmost tip. Yeah, this is Vatican! Something horrible, something that was neither Brit nor Vexus, but some wholly unamalgam of the two, reared its mighty head, defiance that was all that good in the random world. It screamed, "Oh!" Brit's eyes shot wide open, the sound of her fearful shriek having jolted from her sleep. Was this the real world now? Uncovering herself from her fetal position, Brit sat up on the floor and inspected her surroundings. She could feel her pulse racing, making a rushing noise in her ears and a thumping in her chest. Lights in the room seemed overly bright, and the colors blurred and muted. She was a Phineas Fogg's map, but everything was a mess. Tables and equipment were overturned. Computer monitors were smashed to pieces. Papers and documents were strewn everywhere. What was going on? As Brett pulled herself to her feet, she felt a stabbing pain deep in her navel. Fears buried her subconscious being of fear as she took a look down. Her midsection, just below the rib, was sleek black metal down to her hips. Was a frame of a golden-colored metal stretching down the length of her legs. It carried her weight as she stood, requiring serious effort on her part. How deep did these robotic parts go? Brett grasped her chest, experienced a moment of panic as he felt cold metal instead of familiar, perky young tits. She breathed a heavy sigh of relief when her searching hand slipped up underneath her breastplate, found her warm human flesh where it was supposed to be, and laid her hand over her thumping heart. When the thump of her heart was answered by a corresponding slish from 2 inches down, and 3 over her side of her ribcage, Britt withdrew her hands disturbed. A flash of realization set Britt's investigation sit between her legs. Pulling aside her bikini bottoms to find her slightly fuzzed pussy had remained just as she left it, untouched by the metal insertions that had planted everywhere else. Phew! Britt said aloud. That's what I need. I didn't want to have used a drip pond for a maxi pad for the rest of my life. All across her body, Britt checked and rechecked herself, usually finding the same results. She was largely encased in Vexus's outer shell, but underneath there was still flesh. And underneath that, more machine. Anchored to Britt's skeleton, simultaneously to draw and lend support for her still slender, feminine frame. But the only things she couldn't look at were her upper body and back in her own head, so Britt set out economy to see for a mirror. Fortunately, the rest of Mug's household wasn't as a poor condition as the lab was. Whatever caused the destruction there apparently spared Mug's living quarters. Still, the other scientist himself was yet to be seen. Britt found herself asking what was going on. A charting desk calendar said the day was December 8th. How long has he been unconscious? Spying his central computer in the living room, Dad did his Mug's main console and video phone. Britt approached in an attempt to gain access. Perhaps there was a message left for her, or something recorded by Mug's ubiquitous cameras. Predictably, it prompted her for a password. Kenny, she spoke aloud and typed. Incorrect. YK9. Britt guessed. Incorrect again. Britt looked at her gaze and let her hot eyes travel the room, looking for clues as she might skim for other possible passwords. As she did, she felt the nose to her right hand tapping keys. Spotting a mirror hanging from a wall nearby, Britt momentarily forgot all about her task. She was beautiful. She had hair again, long flowing hair jaded gold, one moment appearing as luscious locks of blonded green, the next solidifying into a royal hair dress, the appointments of a queen. She had transcended earthly beauty and become a creature of emerald and brass, a living jewel. She stuck a pose for the mirror, putting her left hand behind her head and arching her back to a tight little bum. She spied her wings, folded her hair back like the gossamer cape. Overjoyed, Britt let loose a shriek of pure bliss when she discovered that she could make the wings flutter when she wanted, evenly spread out behind her. In time, she knew, she would fly. For now, she would try to find some clues as to this. Launching back to the computer terminal, Britt was interrupted in mid-thought to see that she had been admiring her new form. Her computer-enhanced brain and her right hand had been very busy. Without any direction from her, her hand tight fiercely at the keyboard, and before her eyes it tinted Zorn, finally Zorro. The last attempt unlocking the uncooperative computer. Cracking her knuckles on her right hand by flexing her fists, and not feeling at all tired by the tremendous effort just performed, Britt regarded her distance with amused awe. Humpty, she commented, and immediately burst into a fit of high-pitched laughter at her pun. Everything seemed funny to her now, as though she were drunk. An idle thought flitted through her mind, without warning her metal-trimmed fingers extend its long talons. She would look forward to those trying those out. A second metal strung returned her claws to her sheath, and Britt returned to her computer monitor in search of more information. There was the videophone files. Once open, Brittany scanned through the various options, eventually finding archive. Here we are, a log of recent messages. The most recent was 2 days ago, was Britt said to playback. Instantly, the face of a young robot boy bore a passing resemblance to Jenny appeared, and the message proceeded. Hi, Dad. It's me, Kenny. I know you're probably worried sick about me. I'm really sorry I have a college right now, but I'm fine. Better to fight even. It's all been pretty busy. I've been doing everything I can to help Nexus. That's this girl I met, and her work friends work out the Civil War thing they got going on in the cluster. This is the first real breather we've gotten, but things seem to be turning out for us. So I'm sure I'll have more time to call you in the future. So much that happened. You wouldn't believe some of the things I've seen out here. Entire planets populated by nothing but robots. I can't wait to come back to Earth and tell you all about it. But now, I still need it out here. I know you'd be upset with me for taking off like this, but I'm doing good out here, Pop. You can see me, I know you'd be proud. Oh, one other thing. Could you do me a favor and let XJ9 know that I'm okay? I know she didn't really want me to stay out here in deep space all by myself, but just tell her not to worry about me. I made a lot of new friends in Cluster. Anyway, a little more detail next letter home. Love you, Pop. Peace out. That didn't bode well for her. Kane's disappearance, blamed on Jenny, had been Mog's chief motivation to help Britt in her plans for revenge. Will he try to back out, kill the procedure before it could be completed? That recording was 2 days ago. Britt accessed the security monitor loss, scanning through the previous 2 days' worth of video footage of the labs he'd been resting. Resting. Mog came in to check her final signs. Resting. Wait, there. Britt slowed the scan to a normal speed playback, entering the mid-recording of herself, trashing the lab. She watched the audio came through, but nothing was intelligible. The brightening crest of the video was a beast of pure instinct, growling and roaring like an animal, randomly attacking inanimate objects and hurling them across the room. Fuck this. Rewinding the tape further back, Britt found the point Mog was into the lab. Carrying the kill switch program. There's the answer. As Mog stepped closer, attempted to initiate the program. Britt's body surged to life, knocking him away. Britt remembered none of this. If Vexus be controlling her actions, defending her? Shutting out the video, Britt decided she'd seen enough. Mug had fled, but didn't go to the authorities because of the part he played in Britt's transformation. Bah! Britt didn't care where the old man went. She had what she needed from him. But over a month had been passed since she had last seen Tremerton. A lot surely has changed, and there was much to do. Now she had the power to do it. Stepping out the front door into the cool, dark night, Britt took a deep breath and flexed her new wings, testing their strength with a few cursory beats. Then with a mighty heave of the machine enhanced eyes, Britt looked into the sky, buzzing Vexus's wings, her wings, as she soared off to seek her revenge. Britt's cackling laughter rang throughout the night. This, she thought, will be easy.